I'm in mourning. He earned the right to make this decision. We made a significantly higher offer than the 49ers, and that was just the first offer. Feel like we did everything we could. So this is a full twist on this Mike Evans story.
How are you feeling? That's what, I mean, this is we thought Duke would have been an L. This is a major L.
I'm shocked by this.
I'm stunned. If this is true, look, I think Baker is a very good quarterback. I don't see why a receiver wouldn't want to play with him. But when you start to look at why in the world would Mike Evans leave there and they offered him more money? He's been there 12 years. He's like an institution with the Buccaneers. He's not from California. He didn't play college football in California. Like, he has no ties to the Bay Area or the
record,
state.
I'm not from California either, but it's pretty sweet there.
Yeah.
Well, he went to the part where the weather's not quite as nice as it is in Southern California. Yeah. But, and you're a receiver. You're looking at the quarterback.
Yeah, but also Kyle Shanahan, the offense, the Bucs have had to keep changing coordinators. Kyle Shanahan, like, it might be part of it.
I'm not saying it's Baker or he chose Brock over Baker. I'm just saying it's you as a receiver, you are looking at the quarterback. You're right, Shanahan. I think also, and I'm done, Nick, I think he may have felt like Emeka was going to become the number one receiver.
Oh, I think that's
and he probably would, and maybe that was why
and the Niners
he can go to the Niners be the number one guy.
And you know, Kittle is coming off the injury, so he's probably going to be there week one. So I think, you know, to meet you halfway as you met me on Baker versus Purdy. Baker and Purdy swim in the same part of the pool together of quarterbacks. But I do think it'd be reasonable to be like, all right, if the quarterbacks are around equivalent, Kyle Shanahan and his focus on offense versus Todd Bowles, and again, nothing against Todd Bowles, but he's a defensive-minded coach, obviously. That, to me, is a big discrepancy. Your point on one team desperately needing a number one receiver versus the other team having drafted one who's ascending, all of that. And then there is this piece of it, which is the part that I just found so baffling about Wilds' take. This isn't Derek Jeter with the Yankees. It's Mike Evans with the Bucs. Like, it's very nice.
Yeah,
but
it's a nice.
You talked about it like it was Jeter.
I mean, yes, it was. He wasn't even that attached to it. And
is he going to have a statue outside of?
He's not going to have a statue outside of Tampa.
I don't think he's got a statue.
He's not a statue. I like Mike Evans. And the 1,000 yards in a row was
First of all, I'm very
but
liberal.
He's not a statue.
I'm very liberal with my statues.
Well, nobody else is.
Is he the longest tenure?
You're like L.A., the crypto's out. Everybody, you had a nice season, made an all-star team.
The
1,000
yards, got a Super Bowl. He was an institution there.
He wasn't.
Coaches change, quarterbacks change, defenses change. When I think about the modern-day Tampa Bay Bucs, I think about Mike Evans.
Okay, so let me bring you a different.
So let me bring you
hold on. Let me
at least a bus.
So here's why I found it like. I'll bring up a different friend of our show. Same division, around the same age, same Hall of Fame probability. Cam Jordan and the Saints. He might not be a Saint next year.
Well,
nobody's going to cry about that.
All right. First off, when you think about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and what they've accomplished over the last decade or so, it all comes back to Tom Brady. I've said this before, that wasn't a Buccaneers Super Bowl victory. That was a Tom Brady victory. I don't know what else to tell you. The Bucs were irrelevant. They brought in Tom. They won. Tom left. They lost. Right? That's the basic timeline. You had a little fun along the way. You had some interesting moments with Baker Mayfield. That's great. That's awesome. So have plenty of other teams and quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins had moments with Washington, whatever they were called back then. Bryce Young had a stretch of fun. Dak Prescott has had his moments. Daniel Jones won a playoff game. All right, I see you, New York Giants. Let's go. That's cool. Congrats. So it makes perfect sense that Mike Evans would choose the San Francisco 49ers. A long-established franchise that consistently, year after year, makes moves to stay competitive. And yes, if you have to choose between playing for Kyle Shanahan or anyone else, you're choosing Kyle Shanahan. And if you have to choose between Baker Mayfield and Brock Purdy, you're choosing Brock Purdy. Why? Because Brock Purdy is a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield. Yeah. He just is. I'm sorry. I know that continues to bother people, but he is. You're going to get more consistent play. How do I know? I've seen Brock Purdy play in multiple NFC Championship games, and I've seen him in the Super Bowl. I've seen him across multiple playoff runs. I also believe the work he's willing to put in, his football IQ, and what he brings from an offensive perspective are clearly at a higher level. Brock Purdy looks to elevate his game from a pure football standpoint, working within Kyle Shanahan's system, asking how he can get better. Baker Mayfield, on the other hand, tends to get by on grit, on toughness, on sheer will. And again, that's really cool. I think Baker's story is awesome. The NFL is more fun with Baker Mayfield in it. People are going to take this as me hating on Baker. It's not. I don't think Brock Purdy is a top 2 quarterback in the league. But I know who I'd rather play with, and it's not particularly close. So if I have the option to join the Shanahan-Purdy coach quarterback duo, it's an absolute no-brainer. I don't even have to think about it for a second. The 49ers have made it to 2 Super Bowls with Jimmy Garoppolo and, again, with Brock Purdy. The Bucs got there with Tom Brady. Have you heard of him? Congratulations. You beat a collapsing Eagles team that was an absolute mess. That's your claim to fame with Tampa Bay. Outside of that. Beyond that, it hasn't been great. They're competitive, they're interesting. And Baker was impressive for the first half of the season. People got mad at me for being the wet blanket when everyone was acting like he was the MVP and the best quarterback in the league. I was like, guys, I think we're taking this a little too far. And then the law of averages caught up. Who could have seen it coming? It just makes sense. I feel bad because I feel like I'm coming in too hot against Baker Mayfield. I'll make up for it one of these days and make a video about the Bucs and Baker with some positive things. I'm not saying Baker is trash. I'm not saying the Bucs are nothing. I think they're a very well-run organization. I really do. But right now, culturally, they're a mess. Nick talks about Baker and Purdy kind of swimming in the same pool, which is interesting. Nick was going nuts about Baker being in the MVP conversation and being a top quarterback, even saying he was better than Josh Allen. He was saying some wild stuff. He picked the Bucs to go to the Super Bowl last season. So if all that is true, what does that say about Brock Purdy? He must be pretty spectacular too. If they're in the same pool, then okay. Then that's Brock Purdy. And Kyle Shanahan? Yeah, it's a no-brainer. You want to talk about the weather? I'm sure Tampa is nice. But Northern California is gorgeous. They've got all the green up there. Southern California is more desert. I lived there, so I know. Northern California is beautiful. A little chilly, in the 60s? Oh no. I love it. Little breezy. Got the ocean. Got the redwoods. So green. I love it. It's got some of the most unique landscapes. I can understand why you'd want to be in the Bay Area. San Francisco, easy access to LA, San Diego. Sign me up. Especially for the wealthy crowd, Santa Barbara and whatnot. Come on. Those are no-brainers. This speaks so highly of the 49ers. This speaks so highly about them, and especially Kyle Shanahan. Anyone who wants to doubt Kyle Shanahan has no idea what they're talking about. But Brock Purdy, I guess, is a little more open for debate. I disagree with that, but I understand criticism of Purdy more than criticism of Shanahan. But this is a major win in the Brock Purdy column. A quarterback is saying, yeah, I want to play with that guy. You're not just picking based on Kyle Shanahan. That doesn't make sense. You need the quarterback. You need the coach-quarterback duo. You're saying, I trust and believe in Brock Purdy to get it done. You wouldn't do that if you were just picking the coach. If Geno Smith was their quarterback, I don't know how much Mike Evans would be lining up to go there. If Tua was there, I don't know. So Brock Purdy deserves a lot of love for this as well. Make no mistake about it. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Mike Evans picking the 49ers even though there was a significantly higher offer from the Buccaneers? he could have had another season playing with Baker Mayfield. Let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.